DVDs with respect to all the functions and softwares, everything. Okay, because till now we have used all the CDs and DVDs, floppy disks and all. Okay, in the same way, we'll go through this burning and copying CDs and DVDs. One of the easiest way to transfer the data in the external media, such as CDs and DVDs, knowing how to burn the disks on several platforms, make it possible to perform many other network operations. For example, you need to burn the CDs when you reimage systems because you need to install the system patches and antivirus protection without connecting the vulnerable system to the internet. See, if I am connecting directly to the internet and directly to the websites and all without any protection directly, then automatically the hackers will hack your system, or else your virus or malwares can attack the system through the internet or through the websites. To avoid those things, we have to go through with respect to CDs and DVDs. Using the CDs and DVDs, we have to install the softwares. Okay, that is related to burning and copying the CDs and DVDs. Okay. See, if I want to install the antivirus software, simply if I'm going for the open source or free download versions and all, through that while downloading the software only, you may get so many malwares. Okay, to protect our system from the virus through the internet or through the websites and all, we are going to install those type of softwares through the CDs, because CDs won't be connected directly to the internet or any of the vulnerable environments. For that reason, directly you can use the CDs for the installation. There are many other ways to transfer the information, such as through removable disks, that is your pen drives and all, the file transfer protocol commands, and memory sticks. And note that memory sticks are banned in most government organizations and from many corporate network because of the autoplay vulnerability, that is floppy disk. Previously floppy disks were there, no, as and when we used to insert, it used to get directly open the information. To protect that information present in that floppy disks and all, they have banned it nowadays. And by default, Windows system automatically runs scripts on the memory sticks, and serious virus incidents have been spread this way. And you can make several types of burns. CDRs have 700 MB capacity and are inexpensive. DVDs have 4 GB capacity and comparably more expensive compared to CDs, and the savings are significant in buying the discs and bulk quantities. And treat CDs and DVDs with respect to with respect, because they are easily scratchable or soiled and rendered unusable. See, if any scratches happens, if any proper damage occurs on the stored area, then it will become a unusable CDs and DVDs. That is the main problem. CDR grooves and are about 1.6 micrometer wide, and DVD grooves are about 0.75 micrometer. A human ear is about 80 micrometer, means the line, whatever the line of storage in the CDs and DVDs are there, that is less than your hair strand width also. That means that scratches are debris on the disc, that is only 2%. The width of the human ear causes the lost data. Always keep blank discs on the covered plastic and all. That is the main basic things. Regular data discs, that is CDR, DVD, store files, a completely different format called the ISO disk. Called an ISO disk is also common for making bootable CD or DVD operating systems. For example, my reference backtrack software is an ISO, as is other security test suites such as the Helix and Kian And with respect to Windows, various where versions of Windows have built-in disk burning software. Normally, nowadays, whatever the compact laptops we are buying, with respect to that, we don't have any CD and DVD writers nowadays because nowadays, everyone is switching from CD, DVDs to pen drives and all. For that reason, to reduce the size and to make other applications useful with respect to laptops and all, they have removed those CD and DVD writers. If you want, definitely, if you really want the CD and DVD writers, then definitely you have to go for the external CD or DVD writers. Okay. Shortly, an autoplay dialog should display and ask you if you want to burn the audio files and data files, choose the data and now browse your folder and right click on each and file, send the file and DVD to the DVD or CD writers. And to finalize the CD or disk, open my computer, right click and then choose the close session. Note that CDR is a unique format that requires the finalization phase and usually called the close session. And another option on the Windows is the program Magic ISO, which has a limited version available as shareware. Where Magic ISO can make data disk as well as a bootable ISO disk from ISO images. See, bootable ISO disk means whatever the softwares we want to install. If you want to buy the Windows software, if you want to buy the antivirus software, all those softwares will be in the form of bootable ISO disk. As and when you are inserting directly, it will open and it will install the softwares into your systems. Okay. Use mode 1 ISO format and bootable data disk made 2 bar XA for the video disks and the play version the pay version of Magic ISO is required to burn large DVD such as backtrack that is related to in Windows CD and DVD writers. Okay. Next we have in Linux, instead of using the built-in command line CD or DVD software, try a convenient open source GUI called Brasero, the on Red Hat Linux variant. That is one of the graphical user interface where you can install the data from the CD or DVD, or you can write the data towards the CD or DVD through the Linux. You can use the M extender to download and install Brasero. To install Brasero on Ubuntu, use the following commands, that is hash apt get install Brasero. Brasero is very intuitive. Insert a blank disk, choose the type of burn, copy disk or data disk or ISO burn, confirm the disk selections and launch. And VMware, you can see that in VMware player, CD or DVD drive can be connected to VM using the device, that is the device name, and connect it. And when use the OS installation instruction provided earlier for the type of VM operating system such as Windows Autoplay, when you insert the blank disk, whenever you will be inserting the blank disk, Windows Autoplay can be run. To install ESXi client software, point your internet browser at the IP address of ESXi server. The ESXi homepage includes the instructions of the downloading the vSphere client that install as directed and have your current network administrator established as ESXi account. With respect to ESXi, if you want to install your software through the CD or DVD, this procedure has to be followed. And with your VM running in your vSphere console, insert a disk into a disk driver on ESXi server hardware or external burner and then access the disk as appropriate for operating system of the VM. For example, using Windows Autoplay. When creating a new VM, Then there is an option for the machine to save the its stimulated data disk in 4 GB partitions. Choose this option because it enables you to relocate VMs by burning them into the data DVDs. Towards the data DVDs, you can install it or store it in with respect to VMware. Unprotected system directly exposed to the internet has a life expectancy of about 10 minutes. That is the principle behind the passive honeypots, and which are machines purposefully exposed to the internet in order to capture the malware. Antivirus is the most obvious protection that you should install, enable, and set for automatic updation. Everyone will do whenever you are buying your laptop or desktops, whenever you are installing uh, whenever you are updating with respect to that, always you will be having one antivirus software installed in your systems, and always continuously you will be updating it, which will protect our system by external malwares or any other things. Okay, and but there are several other important protections, and the range of protections needed to be constantly rising as threat escalated, and because perimeter security is insufficient to combat the current feature and future threats. See, always you should be updating. Why? Because whatever the protection we are providing by using these type of antivirus and all, that will be very insufficient with respect to the updations and also future threats. Future, you will be having more threats coming towards your systems and all. As and when the virus or malwares are increasing, with respect to that, you have to update your antivirus with respect to that also. And the security industry has not settled on the full scope of host-based security, and actually implements its principle fairly poorly, and no one company or open source project makes all the prerequisites precise, and the most environments in most environments you have to use the hodgepodge of unintegrated stovepipe security solutions. And here, full scope HBS would include the technologies such as antivirus, anti-spyware, and firewall, and intrusion detection and intrusion prevention, blacklisting, and real-time integrity checking, and periodic policy scanning, rootkit detection, and patch management. All these things are a one by one thing. All these you can install and maintain with respect to the protection of your host based systems by using all these methods. Okay, and you can see here mbps.org host the files can be used to block spyware domains as described with respect to the chapters. Blacklisting can also be done country by country basis. Check out this www.countryipblocks.net, where you can see what all the websites are blocked by the government, or with respect to our Indian government, what all the websites are blocked that you can't access. If you are accessing that one, automatically you will get to know that the antivirus will be affecting your system. Okay. ಮುಗಿದೋಯ್ತು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅವರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. And antivirus protection scans for the malicious files in your system, and also whenever you are accessing through the websites, and also if you are connecting any external devices like CDs and your external hard drives or your pen drives and all, always it will scan for the malicious files. If it is present, then it will protect or it will stop those files to access get into your system. That is with respect to antivirus protection. Traditional antivirus protection recognizes the malwares through the signatures, usually by matching the hash function of the files with the known malware database. These databases must be updated frequently to catch the latest malware. It's recommended that you configure for automatic updating. The more innovative antivirus engines use behavioral malware detection where the effect of the candidate files on the system is asserted either directly or through the virtual machines. Behavioral malware detection can discover the zero-day threat and targeted threats. See, whenever we are going with respect to traditional antivirus, normally they used to detect through the signatures or they will be matching with respect to hash function in the file. And later on, as the updation with respect to antivirus also and malware also has increased with respect to that, behavioral malware detection came into place. Means how they are acting with respect to your system. If that has been detected, you can protect the system by blocking those type of malwares. Okay, that is one more method. Anti-spyware search for the suspicious applications that might be collecting the data without the user's knowledge. That is related to anti-spyware searches. Anti-spyware applications are often installed uh, covertly as the user is surfing the website. Whenever you are surfing the websites, sometimes you have seen, I think, if you are searching for some website, one more window will be opening with respect to install those type applications into your system. Then only you can open one more website page. In that way, you will be having so many software or applications to install into your system. If you are installing those things, it will be acting as an spyware into your system. Means they will be accessing the data from your system without the knowledge of yourself only. Okay, the host based firewall determines which part are open and closed, as well as which application are allowed to communicate on over the network. And intrusion detection system scans the network traffic for potentially malicious packets and sends alerts and the packet to log files. And intrusion prevention system can dynamically blocks the network traffic based upon the alerts. A blacklist is a list of blocked domains, IPs, or IP address blocks. The blacklist prevents these IPs from communicating either outbound or inbound traffic. With respect to, see, if you are going for intrusion detection, if you are maintaining the blocked list with respect to who can access your system, which all websites can't access, or if you are maintaining those block list, it will be protecting your system through this type of using the firewall also. Firewall will be protecting your system, means you will be opening the some amount of application only to access through the internet. Some amount of application should not access the internet through using this type of firewall. And remaining part we'll see from the next